Welcome back, everyone. Today we're continuing to work on our WRX. This episode we are going to be doing the framework on it. So as you guys saw in the previous episode, we got it all set up. And the first thing that we want to do is we want to measure as many crosses as we can and to figure out exactly what if this is just what we got to deal with, or if the frame rail is moved at all. So we're going to figure that out first. We're just going to use our tram gauge because our system is kind of out of date and it doesn't have this new. It doesn't have the cars this new on it. The Challenger, it had it on there, but the body hasn't changed since '08, so we were able to pull them from an older body. But this one's all new, and we don't have it, so we are just going to use the tram gauge and going to go ahead and measure it out, make sure everything is straight, or if we need to make it straight. Alright, so we got him underneath the car. So, alright, so the points that we're getting is we got one point here. It's a little dark, but there's a good point there. And then there's another point in the back. So both those have it on both sides of the car in the same exact spots. You in?
Yep.
Alright. I mean, that's a perfect match. So if any of this frame rail went, this would have been off. So that's good. That means all we have to do is deal with the top, and then we'll measure out the tower itself too to see if it moved or not. Alright, so now that we are certain that the rails are straight, we don't need the frame machine up this high. We're going to go ahead and lower it so it's a lot easier for us to work on it so we're not jumping up and down. Alright guys, so a lot of the cars will have like a hole or a bolt or something in the middle that we can basically measure everything off of. This one really didn't. We saw this right here that holds, I'm guessing this holds the dash, and it looks like it's in the middle. So we went ahead and measured it between a couple of these structural points. So this is the middle. So we went ahead and moved that point out here. And we're going to measure the rest of the front end out of this point, basically like a triangle. It's basically we're going to use this point to, go to this point, to measure the towers, measure the radiator support, basically measure everything, because this side's untouched, it's good. So we're going to measure it here and transfer it to the other side and make sure everything is exactly the same and square. Alright, so we measured this out. This tower did move, but we measured from our center point to here and compared it to the other side. It's less than a quarter inch, but we're going to have to yank that back anyway so we can pass the alignment test. And right now we got this hooked up. This is all smashed up, so we're just going to basically give some rough pulls just to get everything kind of out, and then we'll see what we can start cutting out, or we can grab in better spots and start pulling everything. Just tore the chunk out of the metal. The clamp held to just rip that little chunk out. But we got a good amount out where we can grab a better piece of metal now. Alright guys, so we're making pretty good progress on this. We got this piece in here. We still got to weld this in place for the fender, but we got this section in there. This is lined up where it needs to be. We're just going to use our spot welder to get this piece put back in there. This apron we decided that we are going to save just because this factory seam sealer, everything's done from the factory. We don't want to touch as little of it as possible because with welding and then we can seal it, paint it, it still may rust, but from the factory it's not going to do that. So we're going to save this piece because it's not as bad as we thought. We're also going to fix this reinforcement and also this ear here. And then the other thing is that this harness had a couple of wires that were pinched and broken in it, like right there. So we looked it up. This harness is over $1,000. So we're gonna go ahead and open it up, go through it wire by wire, solder any wires that are broken, and seal it back up, and it'll be good as new. Alright guys, so we got our control arm in, we got the subframe straightened out. Once we got this in, we did our cross measurements and then also measured out the other control arm and compared it to this one. Everything's identical, so this is good to go. All this is pretty much ready to go. We got the rebar straightened out, but we are still waiting on a piece. They kept on sending us the wrong piece, and basically this goes somehow like that. So we're waiting on that piece, but we did get a new hinge in. So we're going to go ahead and put that hinge on, get the hood on there, and the rest of everything else will bolt up to this without this piece. So we're going to go ahead and put everything on there, make sure everything lines up. If it does, this car will be done on the frame machine. We'll get the suspension put back on there, and we're going to have to roll the car off from there. Alright guys, so we got all the hood on, the fender on, we got the suspension on there, we got the wheel back on there, and as you can see, all the gaps line up nicely in there. There's still one more bracket that goes underneath this that's going to hold this in place like that, but all the gaps are lining up really nice. Along with the other side, same thing here, there's this kind of bracket that's going to hold this up where it needs to be. But we're happy with it. Everything lines up real nice in it. Got the rebar fixed, and we didn't have a chance to repair the harness yet, and everything's taken apart. But we're ready to get this car off the frame, so we're going to go ahead and get it off the clamps, get it set on the frame, and we're just going to roll it off. This car is light enough that we can just roll it around the shop for now. Alright, so we got the car off the clamps, on its wheels, so we're ready to take it off the frame. In order to take it off the frame, we got to set up the ramps, so let's go ahead and do that. Alright, go ahead straight. Alright, so we got this piece that we were waiting for. We got that all welded on, so it's in place exactly where it needs to be. This little battery tray we wound up saving. We're still going to finish that up so it's nice and pretty, and then once everything's all finished and grounded down, we're going to go ahead and paint all this so it matches the other side. Now we're going to continue to do some of the other dents. We had some damage on the door here, and then we had another damage there. It's hard to see because it's white, but there's some dents. And then also on the quarter right here where the taillight got busted, there's a dent here, and then there's a really small little dent there. So since we're going to be repairing this and painting it, I'm going to fix everything. We are going to use, to get those little dents out, we're going to get this. Got this a long time ago. The guy gave us this. He didn't have the actual tool to, but we'll show you how we do it. So since this is what we got, so we're gonna work with what we have. So we're gonna weld these into these little spots, and we'll just pull them out.
Ready?
Alright, so we're ready to weld the pin on there to yank that dent out. Alright, so we don't have the actual puller. This is how we get by for right now. You gotta make do with what you got. Alright, so the dent's pretty much gone. Just a little skim coat of putty and it'll be good to go. And this one right here, we're actually just gonna block that out with some 80, and it's shallow enough that once we block it out, it'll also just be a little skim coat of putty on there. Alright guys, so that completes all the metal work. We got all this done. We got the rebar saved, this apron piece, the battery tray, that got saved also. The rest of the new stuff we got welded in. You just saw us got that little dent out of the door. And we also got this out. So all the metal work is done. And that's it for this episode. We're done with all the metal work. Make sure you guys subscribe, you comment, you like, and make sure you don't miss the next video. We're going to be starting to do the body work and getting it ready for paint.